What feels like a long time ago, I made a video called How to Fix Trapper. It was the first video I ever did that broke 1,000 views. It was responsible for starting the snowball of growth I've witnessed over the past year, and overall I am forever grateful I decided to make that video. When I sat down to make it, however, I came up with a philosophy. Anytime I complain about the game in any way, shape, or form, I need to have a solution. Even if the solution is remove the aspect, complaining for the sake of complaining is not something I ever wanted to do. I've spoken many times about the difficulty of game development and how developers are humans too, and it's not fun or exciting to see people do nothing but shit all over the things you do. Sometimes you just want to scream, "What do you want from me?" as every single step you take seems to piss off a group of people, so you take an equal but opposite step and the other group of people start foaming at the mouth to attack you. I told myself I wasn't going to be that person. I wasn't going to be part of that problem. I was going to present proposed solutions when I complain about the game, which isn't how the whole How to Fix series came about. And for the most part, I feel like I have held true to that. Overly negative videos of mine have normally been aimed at the community and their awful habits, but when I talk about the game itself, I feel like I always do my best to provide solutions. To that end, let's talk about the world. To that end, let's talk about the word. I've been trying to say this shit for like 10 minutes. To that end, let's talk about the word toxic. Toxic, in its modern form, not only refers to something harmful to your body or the environment, but also refers to actions and statements that can be considered harmful to your mind, a game community, or in most cases, the enjoyment of the game itself. Tunneling, camping, slugging, teabagging, camping tops of buildings with boilover, flip-flop, etc., are all considered toxic, and whether you think they are or you think they aren't is another discussion entirely. But one thing I notice is this community has an obsession with toxicity. I mentioned in my negativity bias video that the negative content performs the best. Looking at any analytics on YouTube, and you'll find I've found this really wholesome streamer will never perform as well as idiotic toxic streamer dies to my nurse. It's just natural at this point. But lately, I've noticed a growing trend of people saying they don't want the community to be so negative all the time. They want positivity and change, which as nice and optimistic as that sounds, I'm not sure how realistic it is. Granted, one of the many things that gets me is how visceral these same people become when they perceive a personal, non-important slight against them or their favorite creator, even if that slight isn't there. But enough towing the line between me and the hornet's nest, let's get down to the inspiration for this video. Quickly, pause the video and open another tab, then type DBD toxic in the search bar and tell me how many results you come up with. Answer so many is probably accurate. Toxic streamers rage at me. I face this toxic bully squad. Toxic killer slugs and humps me. Over and over and over again, the idea of toxic players and toxic streamers clogs the DBD content flow. It's by far the most common type of content and normally something smaller creators rely on to help them grow faster. Many times I'll be scrolling through YouTube looking for creators to watch in my free time, and I'll see mountains of small sub 500 subscriber channels with maybe 20 views a video post some blurry screenshot of the game as a thumbnail and tell the story of how they met someone toxic. It's an interesting concept, isn't it? The negativity bias I talked about makes these videos popular, but simultaneously the popularity is seen as bad, downright dirty thing to do. The question of this video, is toxic content ruining DBD, is a question I feel has far more nuanced answer than simply yes or no. Toxicity in the content space is rewarded with attention, but in the same game it is punished with more visceral. Now, I'm not one to be like, you shouldn't bully the bully, because absolutely you should, but I think our perception of toxicity is somewhat exaggerated a bit. Back in December, when the Twitter drama that brought so many people to my Twitch channel happened, I met a friend of mine named Aaron Duke. Aaron makes content around DBD, and a good chunk of it is those look at this toxic streamer doing toxic things videos. Now, Aaron shows a lot of respect and restraint, far more than I would if I did those types of videos, to be honest. He doesn't expose the people's names or their faces, sometimes even distorting their voice. He likes to have discussions around behaviors instead of starting witch hunts. But watching those videos showed me exactly how actually absurd the concept of what being toxic is to this community. Sabo a hook. Toxic. Slug for 5 seconds to chase a beamer off the area? Toxic. Bring bloody party streamers? You fucking guessed it. Toxic. Toxic is such an overused word in this community that you often wonder what exactly is going on sometimes. I think some of the cases are people just having a bad day. They're sick of the game, and instead of recognizing it and getting off, they let it fester, and it causes them to lash out unreasonably. There's also the circle of toxicity. You are a baby killer. You run into a random bully squad whose only purpose is to piss you off. You get mad, decide you're going to learn how to be a bully killer, do that. Then the squad you bullied gets pissed, brings a bully build, and so on until no one's at fault and everyone has an excuse for their behavior. But at the end of the day, these same people log on to YouTube, search toxic blank gets owned, and watches it over and over again, laughing, making fun of the people in the comments, regardless of any actual toxicity that may or may not have happened. So no, I don't think toxic content is hurting Dead by Daylight. If anything, it's fueled by it. Sure, we have people like Spooky Loops and the like having content largely centered around positivity and positive influence, but the bulk of content on YouTube centers around getting revenge on and exposing toxic people. And as lowbrow as it seems to some people, I don't think nearly as many people would watch DBD content if it weren't for these terms. Whether or not it hurts the community, that's a slightly different problem. I think the obsession with what is and isn't toxic definitely harms the community a lot of times. People who are just trying to win will be bullied for being toxic, and people who are just trying to have a good night will get their moods ruined by toxic people. A great example is actually last night. I decided I wanted to have fun on Dead by Daylight, so I made a dumb pinhead build where I would insidious camp the box and then jump scare survivors who came to pick it up. Dropping from height and appearing from behind walls, it was all really fun. I wouldn't hook people, I'd let them get picked up, and then I just guarded the box. And out of 10 games, 2 teams escaped with the box. We all had a lot of fun. Except for one fucking bastard in one game called me a toxic box camper just trying to ruin the game for everyone else. I was making the game miserable on purpose because I wouldn't hook or chase anyone. I had fun. Most other people had fun, but this one person didn't, and they decided that I was just there to upset them. And they told me I should delete the game and kill myself. Ironically, being more toxic than anyone the whole night. And you know what? That ruined my mood. I was just trying to have fun, but not anymore. I turned the game off, laid down, and watched Vinland Saga the rest of the night. I don't tell this story to be a baby or anything. I tell it so you guys know that this community's obsession with calling anything toxic they don't like toxic ruins the game for everyone else. Toxicity in this community is fucking rampant. And while I think content space is fine with its existence, I think the actual game experience is not. Maybe perhaps I should change my diagnosis. Something more of toxicity is not ruining Dead by Daylight content, but it is harming Dead by Daylight itself. I'd like to recommend a video by Aaron Duke, which slightly inspired this video. He talks about whether or not the DBD community is actually toxic, and it's a really good breakdown, and while I don't actually agree with their conclusion, I do think it's important to hear both sides of the discussion, so please check it out and give him a sub if you haven't. He says toxicity isn't as prominent in the community as one may think, and I think it's more prevalent than not, but I do agree that this community can do good. I just think it tends to favor toxic behaviors and toxicity over not, and maybe that's the pessimist in me, but that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and thank you for 2,000 subs, by the way.